I think it's important to understand you don't do it alone.
Right.
All of us can point to
That is the key, America.
a special experience in our lives or a special person who gave us encouragement at some point or another. There's so many brothers who don't get that one special experience.
And they're talented. And see, you mentioned the people during slavery.
Okay, but then the question becomes, why didn't they get it? Why didn't they get it?
You know, actually, as I listen to the conversation, there's several myths operating, and we need to be aware of them. There's a myth about equal opportunity in the country. There's a myth about individualism being the sole explanation. No, I'm just simply laying it out. And there's a larger notion of how one makes it in this society. So you do have to have support systems, and you do have to have people in your lives who make a difference.
Merit alone is not enough.
But then again, having those support networks, and we have to be honest in the conversation, very candid, having the support networks and those people is not always enough either. The other thing that comes through in many of those books that we've read for today is that you have to draw on some inner resources and find in yourself some direction as well. So it's a two-stage process. It's two set of factors. Set of factors outside, structural, individuals who are helping, but also the individual
Isn't the bottom line, though, you do have to then turn to yourself?
You do have to turn to yourself, but I think there's another element, too. I think that you have to be able to look around in your environment and get reinforcement for some of the notions and some of the ideas that people talk to you about.
And get support when you're trying to do the right thing.
Brother on the block and say, hey, you can be president of the United States one day. And then he goes to the encyclopedia and sees that all the presidents of the United States thus far have been white males. It's hard to convince him of that.
Or more simply, Nate, he goes looking for a job and is consistently and continually turned away.
Right. And the myths about him in the society, what we must not forget, if you ask about the relationship between slavery and now, the myths of black men is basically being, unwilling to work. We can look at all of our parents who were hardworking, industrious. The Puritan ethic was deep in their bones, and yet they were scandalously portrayed as welfare queens and pimp daddies.
That's true. Something has happened, I think, in the last 25 years that we've lost contact, black people, I mean, with that history of achievement, and we've, I think, dwelled too much on victimization.
Well, something else has happened, though.
It's in our faces.
In the last 25 years, the society has waged its own form of war on black people and on black communities.
No, but what happened to that? Because, you know, that is a very interesting question. I ask that question all the time. I can't seem to get the answer. What happened? Okay, but the question is, why is a black man more likely to end up in San Quentin than in Stanford?
Well, that has to do with, again, if we talk about the larger society in which we live, we've got to talk about level of opportunity. When you said it takes more than a role model, it takes also, as William Jewis Wilson has argued in his book, The Truly Disadvantaged, job networks, informal information. You know, most of us don't get jobs by going to the job and reading. We say, hey, Bill, my son just graduated from Princeton. Is that right, Bob? Tell you what, tell him to come out of office 5 o'clock, we'll hook him up. That's how jobs get distributed in American culture, where merit is not the bottom line.
And Oprah, I have a direct answer to your question.
Yes?
I have a direct answer to your question. The decisions that are made about who goes to Stanford and who goes to San Quentin are made outside of the control of black communities.
No question.
Yes. Everybody who has made it to any level of success, you are where you are because somebody showed you the way. Yes. Somebody showed you the way. Yes?
I was going to say, I think it's important for us to drop these labels. Lower class, middle class, these are our people. You know, these are our people. We need to look at us as all of our kids as people. You know, I think these labels are, they're just divide. We don't need any more divide and conquer.
Well, because you're not going to be able to isolate yourself unless everybody comes together to try to lift each other up. We're all going to fall together.
And along the same line, we need to understand that this is not a puzzle. We're talking about human beings, and human beings respond either to positivity or negativity. When you put a group of human beings in a negative situation with no avenues for positive growth and opportunity, then they respond negatively. And that's for any group of human beings.
But see, I think the perception is in the country, most people view everything from their point of view. So people think, well, I made it, I could do it, so why can't they?
But I would only have them understand, as you pointed out, to think back about why it is they made it, and then to grant that same set of assumptions to another group of people. And if they had the opportunities for those black men, then those black men would be able to.
But there's the great quote from Dorothy Day that says this: I want to work toward a world in which it's possible for people to behave decently. There's a whole lot of theology, philosophy, and insight in that phrase.
We'll be right back.